live here. My dad is a judge. He'd be so disappointed. Wait, who is that?
Rusty Waters.
We can stay. Woo!
Cinderella cut it up one time.
I didn't know what to do. I always know what to do.
Freshman year is like one big sexual pop quiz. You need to do your homework.
Homework? Yeah. Let's do this.
The to-do list for the girl in this movie is nasty. She's got a list of things that I'm still trying to cross off on my list. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to have done to me.
No, I'm like,
Let me make that clarification.
You already gave the blowjobs?
Yeah, I know. Blowjob was on the top of that list. Huh?
where was this girl when I was graduating from high school?
Exactly.
You know? You're like going, hey, these were all the things on my list, and I would have dealt with just hand-holding just to scratch that off.
That's why this is a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. When I was this girl's age, hand-holding was sex for me. You grab my fingers and you're the opposite sex. I'm like, oh.
She wants to marry me now.
She touched me. Go get a
She
mop.
likes me.
Yeah, just soaked. But I mean, I like this movie, man, because a lot of people liking this movie. They're saying
I love the hell out of this movie.
Yeah.
Hey, hold
I
on,
love it.
review. Hold on.
Funniest movie ever.
You're waiting
I
for
like
the
them more than
review.
you.
Yeah,
We got a whole review here. Hold your horse.
Better than sex.
I give it a-
I'm done.
I got a list of plot points we need to hit before we get to our review.
I just want to be clear to the fans out there, keep listening because this movie kicks ass.
I just want to go home, full price.
No. I like this movie, and a lot of people are enjoying this movie because they're saying that, well, this is a sex comedy that puts the power of sex in the girl's control. Now, I don't want to hear all that bullshit. I like the movie.
Whatever,
It's just goofy. And the plot that you have here, because this is very much, when they say a sex comedy, they are not lying. This is about as sex as you can get in a comedy.
It makes some of that Judd Apatow film seem like preschool. Like,
Oh, yeah.
This is a movie where Judd Apatow wish he had a movie like
Yeah.
this.
There's some movies where you go like, well, it might be a little racy. Maybe I could take my daughter or take my mom to see. Maybe if it's a little spicy. This is not that.
No, do not fuck up and go see this with your parents, okay? I mean, both y'all gonna be looking at each other kind of embarrassed.
Yeah,
It's not-
you take your kids in there like, oh, it's some TV stars they like. You'll be walking out. You'll be spending $30 for nothing.
Your kid will go. I dare you. Go ahead and take your 11-year-old boy to this movie. He's gonna be jacking off in the middle of the thing before he gets out.
That will be the quietest ride home ever.
Your kid is gonna be. He's gonna be fucking his Skittles before he leaves the theater.
now I want to picture how that's possible.
I can do it.
I can do it.
Draw a hole in the Skittles, like, come on.
Sounds like some fucked up Japanese shit right there.
Probably did it, my friend. But what you have here, it was on my to-do list. But what you have here is that you have young Brandy Clark back in the summer of 1993. Now, she's played by Aubrey Plaza. You probably saw her on Parks and Recreation, right?
Yep.
Or what was the movie recently where she was in with what's the name? Where she was the time travel romantic comedy one.
Oh, Safety Not
Safety
Guaranteed.
Not Guaranteed.
Safety not
We
guaranteed.
talking about this movie right here. Now,
Sherlock Holmes.
she's a prude pretty much. I mean,
She's an overachiever, straight A student.
Yeah, for her graduation party, I mean, she is. I mean, she's a straight A student. I mean, she is the pride and joy of her parents. One of her parents is a judge. I mean,
They love her.
And so she says, you know what? When she gets out of school when she graduates and goes to the party, she's saying, I'm going to a church lock-in or something. I don't have time for all these shenanigans that all you other heathens do. But her friends trick her into going to a party where everybody's drinking, everybody's having sex, and when she gets there, she sees this guy, Rusty Waters, played by Scott Porter, and she's like, oh, wait a minute, I do have a vagina. and it wants him.
They could have called this the moistening.
Yeah.
It's like you said Rusty Waters, the blues singer?
No. It does sound like a blues singer.
Which is one of the jokes of the movie.
I know.
That's Muddy Waters. I'm sorry.
She goes to a party and falls in love with a black blues singer. But anyway, she realizes, like, my vagina has urges now, and I want him. But when she starts to accidentally make out with the guy, she realizes, well, shit, I don't know as much about sex as much as I thought I did, which means she knows nothing. Mm-hmm. And she says, you know what, if I want to get rusty and get this rust off my vagina here, I have got to start getting more experience.
And she you know what? She's a valedictorian overachiever, so she's going to attack it like a science project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like they go through it very rationally. She's going to
Frankly.
look online, trying to figure out what all these things are that are sexual things that seem like everybody else, her friends included, all know about. Although as it goes along, it's clear her friends are kind of as inexperienced.
Oh, yeah.
As
Well,
she is. In
teenagers
some
love
ways.
to talk like they know
Oh, yeah.
shit.
Yeah, they don't
Talk
know
a big
yeah,
game.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't know
No
shit,
action.
but
But
you know
she's
what?
going to do it because that's what she's always done. She's
Oh,
attacked
yeah.
every project, and she's come out with an A, and she is going to come
Well,
out with an A and a 69 or whatever. Well, that's not an A.
She's going to
Probably
get an A
F.
plus at slutology.
Yes, she is, and she's studying very hard. She's getting ready for her college life and all that kind of stuff. But in order to, it's not enough to just read about it. It's not enough to just make a list. I mean, she has to do it.
Wow, I had no idea that you could be so
Sophisticated.
slutty. There are things on this list that I haven't even done, Brandy.
So you're gonna scam on other guys and then hook up with Rusty? Mm-hmm. No offense, but how? You said yourself he's out of your league.
I never said that.
I did.
Okay, yes. He's out of my league now, but not once I learned how to pearl necklace him. Huh. Actually sounds really elegant.
It's not.
And if you're gonna do it, you gotta have some. Well, you gotta have some boys. You gotta have a penis in there. Rusty ain't available. So she says, well, I'm just going to do nasty shit with the guys that are closest to me, which is where it comes in. Where was this girl when we were in high school?
Where was she? Where was she?
Jesus Christ.
I give this
yeah.
movie a fucking real.
I knew a girl like this, but it was way after high school.
Yeah, and you had to
It
blow
was
her up,
called
too.
college. Yeah.
And you weren't on her list.
I was no.
And you, that girl was there. You were just those guys that she still wouldn't fuck.
Yeah, that girl was, you knew her in high school. The thing is, you had to descramble the television just right to look at it. And see what she, but you know what? Forget about the sex in this movie. For me, now I'm just speaking personally for me, there are a lot of crude jokes in here. There's a lot of very, very graphic sexual situations that you have for a rated R movie, or, a comedy of this type. I mean, it's not NC-17 or anything like that, but just the talk that they do.
Yeah, it's all talk,
And,
though,
and
to
some,
be fair.
well, and some of it is acted out. It's not. You don't see any real genitalia or anything, but
No.
there are simulations of sex in here. There's body fluids thrown all over the place. That's fine and dandy, okay? But the thing that made me laugh in the movie is just how goofy it is. I didn't really laugh as much at the sex jokes as I did as her. She goes to get a job at a pool for the summer. And the guy who's heading up the pool is Bill Hader. He's just a loser, man. I mean, this guy is like almost 40, sleeping at the pool.
He's living there at the pool, yeah.
But him and Rusty just happen to be a lifeguard there. And they give her, and she goes there to be a lifeguard too, and they give her so much shit, man. And they embarrass her in front of the little kids.
She gets a hazing every day she's at work. Yeah.
Her naivete approach to sex is actually the funniest thing to me than any of the actual sex jokes in here.
And yet it's funny that the strength of this thing is that it actually kind of is a feminist beast in its own way. And I don't mean like, feminist men are bad sort of way.
No,
I mean
because
the
it's
sort of-
funny.
I mean the sort of feminist like, hey, women and men are equal. Let's not freak out about this. Let's be calm. Women go through the same fucking uncomfortable sexual shit that men do. And this is the equivalent to all those movies in the 80s about a male nerd and all his friends trying to get him laid from a female point of view. And while it's hyper aware of those films and while it even references those films to some extent, it goes, she does things a lot smarter than those guys
Well,
did.
it's like an 86 comedy as if it was written by Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Because it's smarter than the average, and even though it has jokes that are just for shock value, which normally I hate, they work here. They actually was shocking and funny. Like it just dropped my jaw on the floor, and it's a sweet story with characters you care about. One thing I found interesting is like it's packed with so many TV stars, and they're young.
they're funny?
Well, they're, not only are they funny, but looking at so many of them, I'm like, how long ago was this movie made? Because Aubrey Plaza and Donald Glover and even the kid from Modern Family, I'm like, they look so much younger in this movie than they do right now.
Well, they've all worked with each other for so long. I mean, I've seen Aubrey Plaza and that Glover guy work on other projects before, but I think that's kind of what makes this whole piece work is because everyone seems to have chemistry in this movie,
Yeah.
and it's such an eclectic mix of characters, which is what I really loved about it. Everyone has their own weird little quirks about them that really makes them shine through. So much in a better sense, kind of like a Napoleon Dynamite in a way, where it's not that type of film. Yet the characters, you can single them out. They're not all one note. You know, they all have their own agendas here in this movie because it's summer. Everyone wants to get laid. You know, they bring out all that fun and just, you know, teen angst that you used to get back in the 80s when, you know, movies like this were kind of done right.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that they get it right, you know, in a time where we usually get these types of movies force-fed to us, yet they always feel they just kind of fall flat on their face. This one, I think, really, you know, it really achieves its goal because you have a character that you can somewhat identify with. There was a point where all of us didn't do half the shit this chick has done, and we were all curious about it. And the way she goes about it, you know, you can't help but relate to it and just see her going through her trial and error, trying to get these things done.
Yeah.
And it's clever, and it makes you laugh out loud. I mean, I haven't laughed. That movie, the End of the World movie.
Oh, you haven't laughed. Oh, you haven't laughed this loud. You haven't laughed this loud since Grown Ups 2.
That's right. Yeah, I have not laughed out this. I almost shit myself. I was laughing so hard.
Was a sign of the end of the world.
Yes, but no, I mean, I
but you know
thoroughly
what?
enjoyed the hell out of this movie.
You bring up a good point because anybody who's looking at this movie for some kind of arousal or titillation, I mean, I see a sex comment. I ain't gonna admit. I might get a little bump in my pants. It might rise up just a little bit. But this, I didn't find anything arousing about this because everybody's stupid in this movie about sex.
Even though there's a real like dirty scene involving Rachel Bison chick.
Rachel Bilson.
Rachel Bilson. Yeah, there's a scene where
who plays
the sister of Aubrey
yeah.
Plaza. Yeah, towards the end where I'm just like, wow, this is actually getting me kind of hard.
And yet that scene, like after it's over, has the greatest like punchline payoff of any scene in this whole film.
Yeah, it has my semen punching the screen.
No, it's funny. What makes this all ultimately work is the fact that like Aubrey Plaza's character comes together as a real smart person who learns as she goes and evolves as she goes and ends up in a way that's sort of it's punctuated with this sort of sweet, intelligent sort of like appraisal of everything that's happened. It kind of
pulled
so
a John Hughes at the end.
Yeah, it really pulled a John Hughes at the end where you're like, this sort of thing hardly ever works anymore, and yet you went, wow, that was a really smart message to send out to your audience.
Yeah, it's like why can't the rest of y'all do this?
Yeah, no, but they capture some of the stuff that they do with these kind of movies that are based on summer. I mean, like I said, forget about some of the sex stuff. I mean, there's a whole thing of like at this pool they have a rivalry with another pool. Right, they have this scene where they got to go get them back at night. You know,
it's funny because it's thrown in, and it's not like it needs it, but it's funny enough the way like you don't mind.
Well, that's because it's all a tribute to those '80s films with the guys' virgin things. It's all like down the line until it comes to that point where it's not anymore.
Like even the little kids involved in the pool, like they had me laughing. Even when it's the beginning of summer and these kids look like zombies, like at the gates
trying
of
to
the
break
swimming pool, trying to break me. I know. It's like George Romero directed that scene where they're all like, "Come on, let us in there."
It's funny,
but the way those kids actually interact, where they have these little kids interacting with these adults, where you know the adults are telling these little kids adult things that only we know, but the kids think about it on a whole other level that it's just ridiculous and hilarious.
It's funny you got that from it because like my swimming pool days back then, it was just that. We were like, when we were waiting for that pool to open, we're like, you better open this fucking pool. We are going to crawl over this fence and eat your faces.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. That's true.
We crave chlorine.
and that's another thing. I mean, they capture many things about the summer that I remember just waiting to swim. I remember I couldn't wait to hit that water. You know?
It was the best thing there was until you discovered pussy, which was gonna happen while you were in that pool.
It's like those kids were trapped in the desert for years. They see pool water. They're like, we won.
If I could, the moment I got out of school, if I could just go, if they had a swimming pool right outside the classroom, I would just jump into it, man. It really did touch some memories on that. Yeah. But you know what? Again, they have other characters in there that they just have odd things that go on. Speaking of the kids, they got two little kids in the movie that are just these two boys that are just nasty, man, and they prey on the girls that go in the pool. Now I know some people gonna complain like, oh, you know, that's sexual assault and that's not, you shouldn't encourage that. That's not funny. I'm sorry. There's these two little nasty boys in the pool, and they reminded me of myself because they don't even know what they're doing. They just go up and they just put their fingers in girls' asses and don't even know why. You know, they do it like sharks. You know, like the point of view of a girl's ass. You see them do.
Those kids were in every swimming municipal swimming pool. They totally were. You
I
know
was
them.
that perverted
Well, I was
kid.
going to say, it was
We all were.
So.
Yeah, I wasn't. What kind of delinquents were you guys?
Well, I wasn't sticking my finger in buttholes or anything like that, but I was definitely looking where I shouldn't have been looking.
Hey, you are a little kid. That's why boys got goggles. Why'd you want that unless you just clearly want to see some girl's ass? I mean, because
I didn't want to have red eyes at the end of the
But
day.
it seemed that much more appropriate to have this film about the subject take place in a swimming pool like this for so much of it, because that is where a lot of us first started to think about sex. We're like, well, girls, they're gross, and what's going on there?
Well, you know what? To Cole's point, it's also good that the movie is populated with, sure, they're all actors, but they're not like gorgeous people like from the 80s movies. They all look like normal, regular people.
Right.
Even Aubrey Plaza, who is a relatively flat-chested actress, and which they call attention to in the film, but as it goes along, you're like, what difference does that make? Really? She's
None.
hot.
Yeah, I know. I have this
I don't know about the rest
strangest.
of y'all.
Yeah, it's funny because I always think about Aubrey Plaza. Like if I saw her walking down the street, I probably would never think even twice about her if I passed her. But when I see her like in shows and her doing her comedy, just being funny, there's a strange attraction that I just want to jump her bones every
Oh my
time
God.
I see her make a joke.
Co-host likes a
It's
girl
crazy.
because of her mind.
Well, I think it was he liked her more because she was only 17 in this movie.
yeah.
What? Don't start that shit, please. God damn. Who's going to put out that fire now? God damn. Leave me alone.
All the
That
gasoline
shit.
you throw on me on a weekly basis.
It does
Oh
seem,
my God! Thank God Selena Gomez isn't in this fucking movie.
it does seem like karma.
I'm gonna jump in the pool right now so I don't get burned.
But I'll take the heat off of you.
Oh, okay, thank you, Corey.
Let me switch to sex talk here. But you know what? Another thing that's cool about this movie is that they make references to the 90s, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't seem like an Adam Sandler movie where they have to point out, just stop the movie and say, hey, this is the 80s. Remember this?
Oh, look, Vanilla Ice just showed up.
Out of nowhere.
Actually, it's funny how much so that it does reference like the time placement stuff, and yet it never feels like you go like, this was the whole reason for this entire scene to say, remember when we all like this?
No, that's what-
They're
that's-
just references along.
I
the
thought
way.
it worked because they were kind of also in the subtlest way pointing out how ridiculous this shit was.
Oh, yeah.
Even back then, where it seems like, wow, this seems more like the 80s than the 90s, because when you look back, you're like, wow, that shit really was stupid.
Well,
why did we wear that? Why did we watch that?
There's always that bleed over between decades, and they capture that right there
They
where the
do.
80s was bleeding over to the 90s.
Look, we're living in 2013, and we want to look back and say, man, that was stupid. You know,
Of course.
Right now, whatever we're wearing, whatever we're doing, it's going to be stupid 10 years from now.
But you know, right now there's kids who are listening and go like, because this is gonna be cool forever.
Coolest, man. And the 2013s is last forever. But it was funny because they make references in the movie, and they're just so goofy that and silly that they make me laugh. There's a part where Bill Hader is talking about the face that Eddie Vedder makes when he's singing in the Jeremy video, and it's just out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, and it's almost charming because it's so silly. And furthermore, they have a lot of iconography from the 90s in the movie, but they reserve it mostly for the opening credits, which are very creative.
Yeah.
See, I was so worried about this particular thing because I know it's one of your pet peeves.
Exactly. I was wondering how you were going to react to
Yeah,
that.
I was like watching it going, I'm really enjoying this film, but I'm waiting for Corey to just throw the whole thing out the window, throw the baby out with the bathwater, because they actually have the balls to reference a
They're
specific
going to throw the
period of
dancing
time.
baby out the window.
Good one, co-host.
That was good.
You win.
That's my one for the year.
And you got it. Hey, go get a beer. You earned it. Well,
Hey, where's Buzz McKenzie keeping that?
okay, now stop while you're ahead.
Oh, wait, never
Okay,
mind.
that's
Killing
Stop
it.
while you're ahead.
Well,
we're going to pretend you didn't say that.
now that you mentioned it, Cyrus, one of my complaints in the movie is that early on they were laying it on kind of thick. It was early in the movie before the story finally kicked in. And there's one joke in here that I thought they didn't really need, and that was a throwback, not to the 90s, but to the 80s. You'll know it when you see it if you've seen the movie it's referencing. And I thought it was edited bad with the way they ended it. It was not necessary. It was too predictable, and I thought, man, that's a lull right here in the movie.
I'm gonna break off from these.
Captain Matinee to the rescue.
I'm gonna break.
You don't know me.
No, I'm going to break off from these other guys here for a minute and say that I think there were moments here and there that were awkward. There were moments that not every joke.
Come on, buddy.
They would build up to jokes, and you were like,
That was only you doing that.
Yeah, that's just you, dude.
But that being said, this is so much more funny than it's not, and it has so much more payoff than it doesn't. And most importantly, it has characters that actually seem largely forgettable. Not forgettable. That's not the word I was looking for. Help me, Leon. But
He's drunk right now.
yeah, I mean, at its worst, it tries a little too hard sometimes. At its best, it succeeds at where it's trying. It goes beyond what any of these films, including the Judd Apatow films, go to. I mean, it actually makes characters that you genuinely like, that you want to see succeed and who evolve over the course of the storyline. I don't know if we're at the point of giving the review.
No, go ahead.
But I feel like this is almost a full price. It's so close to being a full price, 100% recommend of this film. It just is just amateurish enough not to get there. It's just needed one more pass to get there. I'm actually going to give it a low full price.
What? Wait a minute.
Make
Wait,
no sense.
Stop. I'm going to stop you right
I
there.
don't even know what just happened.
No, wait a minute. Let me just lay this
stop
out
right
for
there.
you. No,
Stop.
I have to because you say this is almost a full price, but it is a full price. What?
I'm sorry. Are you an idiot? You yourself have 100 times given a low full praise, a high matinee, a low some old bullshit. We've all done this. Are we going to still keep arguing about this distinction?
but a low
between-
full price is still a full price.
I like the way he called me an idiot.
I know.
Listen to what he said.
We're all three looking at you like, wait, you said this is almost a full price?
Because
I give it a low
I'm sorry.
full
So
price.
is there no difference between a full price and a low full price?
No,
Is there no difference?
No. The context of what you just said.
Is there no difference?
The context of what you said.
No. Is there no difference? Is there no difference between a low full price and a full price? Is there no difference?
You're not understanding what we're saying.
No, you're not understanding what I'm saying.
But everybody, hey. Did you just see what this man said? Did you just see what this man said? I would like to ask the Spill community, did you just hear what this man said?
All right, so if we were going to knock it out into stars and numbers, I'd be like saying, what's the difference between giving it a 9 and a 9.5?
Cyrus.
We're going to let you sleep on it tonight.
Oh, my
Tomorrow,
God.
you know what we're saying.
Leon, I expected at least you to have enough sensibility to follow me.
Listen,
on
right now when you explain the semantics of what you're saying, sure, I get it. But the way you said it, that sounded insane.
We get what you're saying.
We get what you're saying.
We're assuming you would have given it a matinee.
But you're like,
Because we've been doing this for so goddamn long.
No. Okay, you don't get what we're saying.
Walk away.
I get what you're saying, but you don't get what we're saying.
Just walk away.
I feel like I just walked in a room with people I've never even met before.
No, you don't.
You don't
okay.
understand. You know what? You will have so many comments when this review goes up explaining to you.
Just walk away.
Probably better than we can.
Into the
What
horror.
did I even need to explain to you that there's a difference when you yourselves make
We
the
know
difference?
that. We know that. It's the way you said it.
We know it.
It's the way you said it.
We understand. We
If you
get
say,
it.
if you say so,
Cyrus gives it a low full price.
Yes.
low full
Hey,
price
man,
from
good for
Cyrus.
you.
which is exactly the same as the full price according to these guys. So go ahead.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
not. Oh my
Stop.
God.
Stop, Leon.
All right.
What do you give it?
Oh, wait a minute. You know what, man? I'm an idiot. You're right. I don't see how I got that wrong. You were so right.
Oh
man.
my God! Why am I even sitting here taking you?
I said you're right, man.
Waiting for the insult.
It's not an insult. No, you were. I got it. It just not. It takes me a while, man.
He's slow.
Aha! I got it.
He's a slow guy.
Now moving on, Leon.
Leon, don't be slow too.
I'm not even sure how to follow that. I really like this movie even more than Cyrus. I didn't trip over that problem he had. I mean, everything he's saying was like, maybe I was fearful of that when it started, but it didn't take long for me to go like, hey, this is making me laugh hard, and it was consistent. Probably the most I've laughed at a movie this year. And as a matter of fact, I sat there thinking like I won't put all of Judd Apatow down, but I was like, this movie it's everything why I like this so much more than This Is the End. Where This Is the End is a bunch of grown men, ad-libbing, and it can be funny at times where this is a script where somebody or a couple people actually sat there, came up with it, hammered it back and forth, and honed it, and turned it into something really sharp. And it actually even kind of reminded me of the best parts of the 40-Year-Old Virgin. But yeah, I couldn't recommend this movie enough. I give it a good old full price.
All right. What about you, Cole?
I'm right there with you, Leon. And I did like At the World's End, yet I found myself.
This is the end.
Oh, this is the end. I'm sorry.
We haven't seen that.
We haven't even seen that one yet. I'm sorry.
You're wishing you.
Yeah, I would have corrected you, except that's coming up later.
That's going to be hard when that review comes up.
Right.
But anyway, I found myself laughing way harder and more so in this than I did.
This is the end.
This is the end. But that has a lot to do with just the cast of characters here, and they are characters. Just the whole reminding you of what Summer really did feel like, even in your best fantasies, what you wanted Summer to be. They really captured the spirit of that, captured the spirit of the 90s in a subtle way to where you didn't feel like you were being bashed over the head. But I have to give credit where credit is due. Aubrey Plaza really does carry this movie. I mean, this is the movie that I've kind of been waiting for her to make. I'm kind of getting tired of her same old character on Parks and Rec, and I think with this movie, it really proves that she can do so much more than that now. Saying that, yeah, it is an enthusiastic full price.
All right. Well,
what about you?
What about you,
Coleman?
buddy?
Well, I'm just gonna say some things here that you're not gonna like.
Wrong. End of review.
But I do like it. There were, I agree with you, Cyrus. There are moments where some of the comedy was awkward. I don't know. If
It's a low full price.
I'll tell you. I don't know if there's a way they would cut it, and sometimes some of the lines. I know Aubrey Plaza was supposed to be really stuck up. And she was supposed to be kind of, and even when she was not
bitch?
at that point. Well, no, not even a bitch.
She's not a bitch.
No, she's not a bitch at all. It's just she's a prude, man.
Yeah,
And
she's a prude nerd.
Yeah, she's very prudish, and sometimes I thought that she laid it on too thick with her act. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. It was funny. I think the point of the movie was to make her do that, but sometimes she did it to the point where I thought it was laid on so thick that it kind of drew too much attention to itself that I wasn't laughing as hard as I thought it would. I'm not laughing at all. Some of the other people in the movie, I thought they didn't use them as well as they could. Donald Glover is one of the guys that she experiments with, and that guy's really funny. But
why isn't there more Donald Glover in this film?
Because this movie was shot a while ago before he was Donald Glover.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that.
But you still wanted more Donald Glover.
I did.
Well, back then nobody wanted more Donald
Shut
Glover.
up, Leon.
But you know what? This movie,
Time travel.
Like I said, it's funny. I know we're laying a lot of praise on it, and like I said, it really took me back to those '80s movies that I loved, those sex comedies and summer camp films. But like I said, it's just not reaching it to that level that you guys love it at. I see. You think I'm gonna give this a matinee, and I probably would give it a matinee.
Now he's in a.
But I'm gonna give it a matinee.
Really, dude? Come on,
Now,
man.
see, I took it off
I
you,
told you.
Cyrus.
I saw the captain taking his shirt off. That cape came flowing out the back.
Dun, dun, dun.
You saw me running across the room.
I looked over and saw a phone booth, and I was like, I know where this is going.
Big M.
I want to nail that cape to the floor, so when he runs, he'll just become full price, man.
Today, my boss made fun of me in front of this incredibly hot college guy. Shocker.
Shut the front door, Amber. Shut the back door.
Not the back door.
What?
There's doors we don't do.
George.
Pass the potatoes, please.